the news the world has been waiting for. Meghan Markle has given birth to a new baby boy.
It's magic. It's pretty amazing, and I mean, I have the two best guys in the world, so I'm really happy.
They are the biggest celebrities on the planet right now. The interest in their child is not going to go away.
This baby has been shaking up the British royal family since the big news was announced in October.
It's very exciting that, there's going to be a mixed-race baby in the royal family that's half American.
In Britain, the royal family is a white elite establishment, and I think really it's time to change.
This is the first royal baby to be treated to a $200,000 baby shower.
She's found ways to allow to live that movie star life.
This is the first royal baby to grow under such highly scrutinized maternity outfits.
We want our royal women to look good, don't we?
And this is the first royal baby to be born into an American family drama.
I can't think for a minute that Thomas Markle will be able to ever meet his grandson or granddaughter.
You can't hurt people like this and then turn around and flip the script and play victim.
As well as rumored tension on the British side of the family.
I don't think that Meghan and Kate will ever be super good friends.
We will look at all that and more as we find out how this California girl had her royal baby her way. On the 19th of May 2018, almost 2 billion people worldwide watched this divorced, mixed-race, Californian actress marry into the British royal family.
Americans have no royal family. We worship Disney princesses. So we've always had a great interest and affection in members of the royal family because that majestic pomp and circumstance is not part of America. But with Meghan, we finally got a seat at the table in the royal family.
I think that when you're very beautiful, like she is, and you're of colour, and you're in your late 30s and you're a divorcee, I feel like it's almost the case that a lot of people are saying, wow, how has she broken all of these rules and yet she's still made it into the royal family?
And almost as soon as Meghan and Harry had driven off into the sunset to live happily ever after, the world was on bump watch.
I actually felt quite sorry for Meghan because here she is, strong, independent woman, career girl, very vocal about female empowerment. I guess with her age, the clock was slightly ticking. Suddenly, she's reduced to when are they going to have a baby? When are her ovaries going to produce?
There is a precedent for royal brides to be pregnant quite quickly after marriage. Certainly, we saw that with the Queen herself, pregnant within a year, with Diana, who was pregnant within 100 days.
The eyes of the world were watching for any inkling that the new Duchess of Sussex might be expecting.
There was an occasion where she wore a Jason Wu dress, which had this slight kind of detail on it that moved as she walked, and everyone was like, oh my goodness, she must be pregnant, there's a bump. And of course, it was literally just the detail.
It is madness, the coverage. I think the Queen's governess said royals are only private in the womb, and that was in the 1930s, before mass media, before social media.
The scrutiny was intensified by the fact that she was considerably older than other royal brides, and time may be starting to run out.
By age 37, I think women's biological time clock starts ticking, and they're both old enough. I mean, he had life experiences that make him say, I've sown my oats, and now it's time to consider being a family man. So they're at a great age.
The fact that Harry and Meghan were going to try and have a baby as quickly as they could was not even a well-kept secret. I mean, they'd said as much.
Children?
Not currently, no. No, of course, I think, one step at a time, and hopefully we'll start a family in the near future.
Well, they got married in the May, and then I heard talk that they were going to go on this kind of big tour of the States in the fall. And it was kind of going to be a bit of a homecoming tour. And then I heard that the tour had been put on ice. I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. Why? But by this point, the tour to Australia, New Zealand, Tonga and Fiji had been announced, and there's Zika risk. Obviously, if you're a pregnant woman, the advice is to be careful, so the risk to the unborn child. So I thought, she can't be pregnant.
With some people thrown off the scent, eagle-eyed royal pregnancy watchers were once again obsessing over Meghan's outfits, this time at the wedding of Princess Eugenie in Jack Brooks Bank on the 12th of October.
Meghan appeared and somewhat gave the game away. She was wearing a beautifully tailored Givenchy coat, but she had a button undone, which is just something that members of the royal family don't tend to do. And I think at that point we all had our suspicions.
3 days later, Harry and Meghan were on the other side of the world, and the news we were all hoping for finally broke.
On the Monday morning, we all landed in Sydney. We turned up at the press briefing and were expecting just to hear a little bit more about the itinerary and the tour programme, and then we were told actually we would be getting a statement from Kensington Palace over a phone.
It was on loudspeaker, none of us could hear it. We were all kind of crowded around this phone, kind of, volume turned up. We're thinking, what? And then he said, I'm very pleased to tell you all that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are expecting a baby. So all of us frantically trying to call our news desks back home, saying, they're having a baby! All quite frantic.
And so began months of excitement and speculation as fans and well-wishers across the globe started counting down the days to this royal arrival.
Everybody loves happy news. We have so much negativity going on all around us, and seeing a beautiful love story like this, people just want to get behind it.
But the happy news is inevitably tinged with sadness, as this royal baby will never meet their grandmother Diana, who clearly had such a big influence on Harry growing up. Will this affect his own approach to parenting?
You know what, Harry's been fun from an early age, but I really feel like Princess Diana endorsed that,
Diana said to me, I don't envy you looking after my 2 children, Ken, because they can be a bloody nuisance. And William turned round and said to his mother, aged 5, we're not a bloody nuisance, are we, Harry? And he turned round, at which point said no, fell off this table, followed by this vase of lilies that smashed into pieces on this floor. And he was always the joker in the pack. And I think what we see today is a style that I recall, 30-odd years ago.
Rumors abounded during the young prince's childhoods about the state of their parents' marriage. But it was clear that Charles and Diana were determined to shield William and Harry from this family drama as best they could.
I think it's wrong to say, because I never witnessed it, and I was around there for some time, that their childhood, their upbringing, their happiness suffered anyway as a result of the state of their marriage.
William and Harry always talk so much about how they had a marvellous childhood. Diana was always there for them, making life fun, taking them out in exciting places, spending time with them.
But on the 31st of August, 1997, Harry's world crumbled when his mother died, aged just 36 years old.
I think when we talk about Prince Harry, the public remember a 12-year-old boy with his head bowed walking behind his mother's coffin.
It doesn't matter what family you're in or the status that you have, you're not immune to grief. And to be grieving for your mother and then have to kind of be in this funeral procession, but holding it all together at such a young age, my heart went out to them.
I think there has been a degree of focus on Diana as a marvellous mother, and perhaps Charles has been left out. They've said that they also owed a lot to their father as well, and he taught them so much too. And what they have and what they give to their children will be something that they take from both parents.
In recent years, we've seen how important it's been for Harry to carry on his mother's legacy when it comes to humanitarian work.
And that kind of heart-on-your-sleeve royal aspect of him, I think, has set him above the rest of his family, because it's almost like he's the people's prince.
When she shook the hand of a 32-year-old man with HIV in front of the cameras, she knew exactly what she was doing. She was using her position as the most famous woman in the world to challenge everyone to educate themselves, to find their compassion, and to reach out to those who need help instead of pushing them away.
You see so much of Diana in Harry, his approach to charity work, his approach to meeting the people, and he loves children too. He's so warm, he's so open. He takes so much from her, and I think that's really going to be very important when he becomes a parent. He's going to want to be the same kind of parent, fun, loving, creative, engaging, always there to listen.
And in Meghan, he's found the perfect partner to carry on his mother's charitable legacy and pass these traits on to their own kids.
Interestingly, when you see Meghan kind of go down to a child's level, which is exactly what Prince Harry's mother did. It's a really nice touch.
There are many shades of Princess Diana in Meghan Markle, and it's emerging more and more.
I think there's no doubt that when Harry and Meghan went on their blind date, very quickly they realised that actually they might be from different parts of the planet, but there are a lot of similarities in the way they were brought up.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are about to become parents for the first time. They come from different backgrounds, but the similarities in their childhoods may affect how they approach parenthood together.
Well, Harry and Meghan both come from broken homes. Meghan's parents separated when she was just 2. She was still brought up in a very loving, very stable home environment.
I think the divorce was handled by my father and Doria quite well. I didn't notice that Meg was adversely affected by that. I think to the contrary. She enjoyed having 2 households. She had whatever she wanted materially and a great circle of friends. I don't think she wanted for anything or noticed the divorce per se.
But having separated parents was not the only similarity in their childhoods.
As children, their parents made a point of showing them, if you like, people that were less fortunate than them.
There are a lot of parallels between the way Doria raised Meghan to be socially aware of those less fortunate than herself. It's exactly what Diana did with Harry and William. And that is something that I am sure will influence their parenting.
When we, as a society, take over the parenting of a child already damaged by previous experiences, we need to care for them as we would our own children.
Clearly with Meghan, if you look at some of her social media posts before she met Harry, even then she was very committed to good causes.
While Meghan was enjoying great success as an actress, in her downtime she would go to the soup kitchens in Toronto and help out there. She would volunteer.
Meghan's parents raised her to be a confident woman, which helped her land her role on Suits in 2011, the same year she married Trevor Engelson. The couple divorced 2 years later. Then, in 2015, Meghan met Harry, and their whirlwind romance entranced the world. Now, as a royal mom-to-be, she's loving every minute of it, unlike sister-in-law Kate.
Kate has had tricky pregnancies with all 3 of her children. She had really awful morning sickness, hyperion gravidas, which meant she was essentially being sick for the first 10 to 12 weeks of each pregnancy. So perhaps she didn't enjoy her pregnancies quite as much. I mean, we know that in her 2nd and 3rd trimester she was fine, whereas Meghan didn't have any problems in conceiving. She seems to be literally glowing.
And part of Meghan's pregnancy joy has seen her ensure she has one of the best-dressed bumps in the world.
I loved the cream chic look she wore to the Natural History Museum in mid-February. Calvin Klein and Amanda Wakely, very chic. She looks like a movie star.
It's very clear that Meghan hasn't been prepared to sacrifice on fashion when it comes to dressing her bump. I'd go so far as to say that I think she's been a bit more experimental and actually a little bit more daring than Kate.
Kate Middleton has a whole other set of rules and restrictions because she's going to be queen. She and Meghan are not on the same page. Kate Middleton has to wear her skirts at a certain length. The Queen is regularly, allegedly, giving notes if she doesn't like a certain hem or a certain outfit on Kate or a certain color tights.
So with more fashion freedom, Meghan has been receiving plaudits for her maternity style. But the cost of some of her outfits is proving controversial.
You're, a person of the people, and that is not what normal people wear, is head-to-toe designer day in and day out.
I would spend less. I think a lot of people would, so that's been a bit controversial.
Meghan never went to the Oscars or the Golden Globes or the Emmys, as far as I know. So her wearing this Oscar de la Renta, that's a show-stopping dress. That is a red carpet movie star dress.
This outfit that she wore in Australia days after her pregnancy was announced hit the headlines for being worth around $12,000. But that is nothing compared to the Dior dress and accessories she wore in February, which was reported to be worth at least 10 times more, totaling an estimated $130,000.
So this kind of makes up for the hopes and dreams of this amazing actress that she wanted to be, which is no longer possible, that career that she's given up. she's found ways to allow to live that movie star life.
Ever since Meghan's arrival on the royal scene, there have been constant comparisons between her and Kate, especially when it comes to fashion.
I believe that there's a jealous streak in Meg. She does like to be the center of attention. I feel like that's part of what's going on now.
Kate 100% is so much better mixing it up, high street, and she pulls out the big guns for the big events and wears her McQueen and wears her Dior. I feel she can do the balance.
People want her to dress like a princess. They want her to look better than they do. They want her to be glamorous. They want her to be as special as Princess Diana. It's a tricky line to navigate as a royal.
We want our royal women to look good, don't we? So I kind of think when royal women are criticised for what they spend on their wardrobes, it's a bit unfair because, frankly, William has got perhaps 20 royal blue suits that have been made by some, you know, posh tailor in London, and they probably cost just as much.
Over the last 3 years, Meghan Markle has become one of the most photographed and talked about people on the planet. Along with her husband and new brother and sister-in-law, they are a box office hit.
The younger royals appear on our cover more often than not, more than anything else, and our readers are absolutely fascinated to know what they're doing.
And to know what they're wearing. If Kate or Meghan wear your outfit, expect to hit your annual sales target by lunchtime.
I think we've seen the Kate effect over many years. Now we have the Meghan effect.
I think Kate wants to look beautiful and elegant and normal. I don't think Meghan wants to ever look normal.
So how and where do these fashion-forward duchesses shop? Sophia Money Coots is an aristocrat and journalist for British upper-class Bible, Tatler magazine. She knows just where you might find a royal browsing for maternity outfits.
Here we are in Seraphine, which is a maternity store in Kensington, a stone's throw from Kensington Palace, where William and Kate live. And Kate has worn a lot of pieces from here. It's the sort of perfect example of how she shops. The dresses and the clothes are beautiful, very beautiful pieces, but they're not madly expensive. They're not too high-end and inaccessible. It's clothes that also normal pregnant women can wear. So this is a dress that Kate has worn for her last pregnancy with Louis. This is very, very, very typical. It's loose, it's not too bump-hugging, incredibly elegant. It was one of the first occasions that she went on stage at a conference and sat next to William and Harry and Meghan together.
Catherine, Harry and I are delighted to be here this morning, and we're particularly happy to be at our first Royal Foundation event with Meghan.
And it was also a moment where we saw how Meghan had been trained by Palace insiders how to sit. So if you notice in the pictures, Meghan is sitting with her ankles crossed very demurely. It's called the Cambridge Cross. Or they do a thing called the Duchess Slant, which is they'll be sitting, but their legs will be angled together and neatly slanted away. So they don't flash their knickers, basically. This is more the kind of dress that Meghan's been wearing in her pregnancy. It's the kind of thing that my mother would be a little bit horrified by because it's very clingy and it's very much showing off the bump. You're going, hello, I'm pregnant. The younger generation of sort of posh Brits really don't care so much about her stomach being out. They see her more as a sort of breath of fresh air in the monarchy as opposed to being outraged by the fact that she's daring to step out in a dress that's showing off her stomach.
I think it's safe to say that maternity couture has come on a lot since the 80s. I mean, I remember so clearly Diana and Fergie in those tent-like dresses that just swamped them and disguised any hint of a bump. Fast forward to Meghan, and she wears clothes that are very form-fitting. She doesn't want to hide her bump away. I mean, we see her cradle it, we see her hold it. She's clearly very attached to this growing baby.
It's something that women do in Hollywood. They cup their belly. She cups it from top and bottom as if to say, like, it's really here, folks. This is a royal baby.
They're cooking royal babies here, so they want everyone to know that. They're making the heirs and the spare, you know?
Whether it's a protective instinct she's doing or whether it's a way to make sure that everyone gets a good picture, Meghan is definitely way into the belly cup.
Our fascination with what the duchesses wear and how they wear it shows no sign of stopping. The Meghan and Kate effects remain powerful forces in the fashion world. And the same can be said for the royal kids, as Daniel Price, co-founder of My First Years, discovered back in 2016.
One evening, I looked at my phone, I had 165 text messages and saw that Prince George was in our dressing gown when he was meeting Obama. We sold out of that dressing gown within a minute, really. The royals affected us in such a good way.
Another business to feel the George effect was Blue Almonds in London's upmarket shopping district of Chelsea.
Upper-class English women will come shopping in a place like this because it's full of very traditional trinkets for their newborn babies and their toddlers. It's beautiful, it's in a very exclusive area, and it's also quite discreet. So if you're Kate Middleton, if you're Meghan Markle, you can come shopping here and not be bothered. When Kate came here to shop for Prince George and got her Moses basket, she came with her mother, Carol, and they just had a nice, mums and daughters day out, basically, unbothered by the press. Look. So this dress is basically what I wore for my entire childhood. Smocking. British aristocracy love a bit of smocking. Princess Charlotte is actually constantly in dresses like this. Very Victorian, very traditional.
Kate favours a very traditional look for her children. So from the moment they come out of the Lindo wing, they're wearing these beautiful G.W. Hurt shawls, which are traditional to the royal family. You see the fantastic sort of Rachel Riley and Amaya kids piping, smocking. These are outfits that you saw on William and Harry, 30 years ago. And in many ways, it's a nod to their childhood and to royal children from previous generations.
Meghan and Harry, on the other hand, we might see her shaking things up a bit. We don't know whether it's going to be bright. We don't know whether they're going to be in sustainable organic cotton, but it's likely that there'll be things like that Meghan will choose.
Even in the dead of winter, the little Prince George has on like wool shorts and high socks. This is like the most British thing ever. Americans do not do this. So I'm going to make a bold statement and say that if Harry and Meghan have a boy, he's not going to appear in the traditional British short pants and pulled up knee socks in December.
Meghan is a super stylish woman and she has the kind of colour palettes and she knows exactly what goes with what, and I think that their child will be dressed a lot more trendily and a la mode.
Like every couple expecting their first child, Meghan and Harry will no doubt have a detailed birth plan. Before Princess Diana, it was tradition for royal mothers to give birth at home. But like with so many aspects of royal life, she changed all that by having her princes in an exclusive private maternity ward. Today, if Meghan wants a standard room in the same hospital, one night would cost a reported $8,000.
When Kate had Prince George, it was very well attended with gynecologists, with obstetricians. There were a lot of people there because it was the future king. And I think there may be some difference with Meghan's. I think if she wasn't giving birth to a royal, she probably would be the kind of person to have a home birth.
Meghan is a very impressive woman. If there's one thing that I've learned about the Duchess of Sussex, she is a woman who absolutely does her prep. She wants to amass as much information as she can. Giving birth, I would imagine, would be no different.
Meghan actually met a hypnobirthing practitioner and said to her, what you're doing is so special. So I got the impression she's very much read up on it all.
I understand that she's definitely doing hypnobirthing, which is kind of like meditation. So when you're in pain or when the contractions come, it teaches you to kind of go with it. And that kind of approach fits in with everything that we kind of know about her and her spiritual side and her not wanting to have any kind of medical intervention unless it's necessary, so no pain relief unless it's necessary, an epidural, etc., etc.
I think between her own natural endorphins and peace and meditation and the medical staff standing by, I think she'll do very well.
Rumors about Meghan's birth plan have been rife throughout the pregnancy. Earlier in the year, there was a lot of media speculation that she might be the first royal to hire a doula.
For Meghan, having a doula is kind of an element of not having a lot of close friends and family around, and it's someone kind of, that she'll keep on the inner circle.
It comes from the ancient Greek, which means female slave, actually, but it's come to mean a woman who stands by the woman who's giving birth and also to help her with the breathing, with the meditation, with the pain.
With the birthing suite potentially quite full with a doula, Harry, and the UK's best obstetricians, will there be room for Granny Doria too?
There's no doubt in my mind that Doria will be there. First of all, she's a yoga instructor who is obviously very aware of anatomy and taking care of yourself. Also, we know that Doria is a very comforting, calm, I mean, look at her during the wedding. She's a very calm, composed woman.
Hopefully she'll have birth in whatever comfortable, safe setting that she feels best in, because it's a difficult thing and she has to be comfortable.
Having given birth here in the UK twice, I can say that that whole stiff upper lip reserved thing really does extend into the delivery room. There's something about the British mentality that is, don't show any pain and don't complain. I mean, I can imagine Kate Middleton barely even gave a whimper when she gave birth.
But Kate did have William by her side throughout, and he's been a hands-on and devoted father ever since. Will his younger brother also embrace modern fatherhood?
Prince Philip was playing squash when Prince Charles was born, and things have changed. And I really think that when the baby's born, he'll be doing a lot.
Yeah, I think he's going to be hands-on from the birth right through and beyond.
Well, it's hilarious, isn't it, really, to imagine wild child Harry, you know, Las Vegas, naked, pool party, cigarettes, girls, to be this very now respectable father figure, husband, birthing partner, which I'm a bit sorry, actually, to say goodbye to wild child Harry, because he was really fun. And I really liked having a drink with him. But we all have to grow up.
Since the world got its first glimpse of Prince William on the hospital steps in 1982, the glamorous new mother holding her royal baby has become tradition. And Kate has made this moment her own.
I don't think there was a huge expectation on Kate to emerge looking quite as incredible as she did. What you have to remember is that this was going to be a historic photograph, the first sight of a future king. It's not surprising she wanted to look her best.
And of course she's got her glam squad, she's got a hairdresser, she's got her stylist, she's got, you know, someone to come and do her makeup. But even so...
No one looks like that after childbirth. I mean, first of all, your body has gone through total shock. I mean, it's hard to walk, let alone have a smile on your face like that and look so flawless.
Having done it once, she probably put the pressure on herself to keep doing that.
But that's why we're fascinated, because the royals are this kind of superhuman family, and that's what we uphold them to.
It's not real life. Come on, Meghan. Come out in a pair of pyjamas.
I think it would be so cool, though, to see Meghan with her natural hair. Imagine she comes out and all the curls are out, and you see that kind of like beautiful mixed race curly hair.
You're not going to see that with Meghan. You won't see anybody in sweatpants.
Early on in the pregnancy, Meghan and Harry announced they would be moving to Frogmore Cottage in the grounds of Windsor Castle, leaving London and Kensington Palace behind.
When they announced that they were having a baby, the Queen offered Frogmore Cottage to the Sussexes, and they said yes.
Well, it's called Frogmore Cottage, but it should really be called Frogmore Manor, because this is no 2-up, 2-down tiny cottage. It was actually until recently 3 or 4 staff apartments, but it's being converted back into a house.
It's a massive renovation deal. I mean, they've had fireplaces put back in, they've had staircases taken out. They're going to have 5 or 6 massive bedrooms, all with en-suite, so that Mama Doria can come and stay.
Well, we know that Meghan is very conscious about the environment. In fact, there were reports that she had instructed decorators to paint the nursery in eco-friendly, non-toxic vegan paints. I was told that she had actually wanted a gender-neutral nursery, that she'd sort of very much stuck to her favoured monochrome palette of whites and greys.
We won't ever see the nursery that Meghan Markle is supposedly designing, but I imagine this would sort of be the vibe. Very traditional, painted, hand-painted furniture. I suspect she would have gone for gender-neutral colours because it's grey, so it's not bright pink or bright blue, and it would cost you about $1,500 apparently.
When it's finished, it's going to be absolutely stunning, but of course, we won't get to see it.
It is on a private estate. No members of the public can walk past it. Privacy is hugely important for Harry and Meghan.
They can really be a family unit away from the prying eyes of the cameras. It was a good reason to move.
And of course, Being in the grounds of Windsor Castle effectively means they are living at the bottom of Granny's garden.
The Queen spends most of her time at Windsor Castle. She loves to walk around the gardens of Frogmore House. She picks flowers for her desk, and she'll be dropping in and seeing her great-grandchild.
I think in public we can see that the Queen does let her guard down a bit with Prince Harry. There's a very special relationship.
Oh, did you? That was brave.
Share a tent with him, Granny. That's incredibly brave. On my part.
I survived. Sometimes I wondered if maybe he reminds the Queen a little bit of Prince Philip, you know, with that wonderful, let's say, the kind of glint in his eye.
There's a host of women that Meghan can turn to for mothering advice, from her own mom to her A-list pals. But there is only one person who can give her advice on raising a royal.
One of the things that I think we have to remember is that Kate, her sister-in-law, is pretty much the only person on the planet that can really advise her and help her.
I don't believe that Kate and Meghan are at war, the way some of the press has kind of painted it. But I don't think that Meghan and Kate will ever be super good friends. They are so different.
I would hope that Meghan would take some pointers from Kate, who is quite experienced now, and can probably guide her in ways, you know, how to help shelter the kids while at the same time educating them and giving them a realistic sense of who they are in this big, busy world.
I can see Meghan asking Kate for advice about what to wear for the royal christening photo. But I think in terms of like the rest of it, she will do exactly what she feels is best.
Kate and William hired a nanny for Prince George when he was 7 months old. But before then, they had a lot of help from her side of the family. Might Meghan and Harry look for childcare sooner?
I think Meghan and Harry will want help with baby Sussex. Because obviously Harry's mum isn't here, very sadly, and Doria, Meghan's mum, lives in Los Angeles, and I'm sure she'll be coming over lots to help, but she's not exactly on the doorstep. And I think like any mum, you get this baby and you're like, wow, what am I going to do with it now? So I think that she will want to be very hands-on, she and Harry, and I think they will be hands-on parents, but I think she will be more than happy to have all of these resources that are available for new mums, because after all, she's very lucky because she and Harry can pay for it.
I think Meg will definitely get a nanny. I'm pretty sure that her threshold for stress could be quite low in the beginning. You know, how many rooms in Frogmore? I can see them all being filled up with nannies.
Yeah, I don't know if Mary Poppins is around, but this one's going to be a tough one for any nanny.
Meghan is very strong-minded, and there will probably definitely be a butting of heads. But Meghan could learn and grow from that. So if the nanny is strong enough, then she won't leave in tears.
There have been a lot of rumours about Meghan and what she's really like behind the scenes. Of course, she is an actress. When you see her in public, that megawatt smile, she is the consummate professional. And this reputation for being difficult was linked to an unusually high turnover of staff at the palace.
Meghan gets up early, 5 o'clock in the morning oftentimes, gets on the treadmill or whatever, and starts texting her team members about things for that day. Probably in her mind, she's just kind of getting her day set up. But royal staff members were certainly not expecting or happy to start getting a barrage of text messaged instructions starting at 5:30 every morning, and took great umbrage and offense at that. But I would just say celebrities do that. So for her, I think she was a bit shocked, certainly, that within the royal family, there's a whole different protocol when it comes to speaking to staff.
Meghan's approach to things have been different, and has it ruffled some feathers? Yes, it has.
So the tabloids have coined this name for Meghan, the Difficult Duchess, which I don't think is fair, and I'll tell you why. There's nothing wrong with being a woman who knows what she wants. The fact that she's a feminist, she's somebody who's known for really speaking up for what she believes in, people don't like that, and it comes not just from a place of jealousy, but also from a place of sexism.
One thing I think Americans don't understand is how vilified Meghan has actually been in the British press. She cannot put a foot right.
How has she responded? Well, for the most part, following that very famous royal rule, never complain, never explain, and that is what the royals do.
But on the 6th of February, it appeared to many that she had found a way to bypass this strict royal protocol. when People magazine ran a feature interviewing 5 of her closest friends about the real Meghan. These friends remain anonymous.
The People magazine article served to underscore that Meghan is a lovely, genuine, warm girl who's a good friend, not someone who's this Hollywood celebrity who's in love with herself and is heartless and cold. And her friends in the article say that she's been bullied relentlessly by the British press and that this was an attempt to set the record straight.
But Meghan also has some A-list supporters who are very much not remaining anonymous.
Clearly, these are her friends who happen to be very, very famous people choosing to speak out on her behalf.
I don't think there's many people on this planet, frankly, that would be able to see all of that said about them without them wanting to fight back. So if Meghan is playing that game, it's dangerous territory, but I don't think a lot of people will blame her.
It's only right that if you're going to be attacked that you would want to defend yourself, and if you can't defend yourself, text George.
The Clooneys are very much Team Meghan. It's rumored Amal covered the cost of a private jet to fly Meghan to the New York baby shower thrown by her exclusive squad of A-list gal pals. The $75,000 a night suite was reportedly paid for by close friend Serena Williams, and they were fed by a Michelin-starred chef whilst being serenaded by a world-renowned harpist.
It's my understanding that the British royal family and that their norms and customs don't really permit such elaborate setting for a baby shower, given that she's taken on a humanitarian platform and the eyes of the world are on her and she's aware of that. You don't flaunt $200,000 baby showers.
Over the last year, the media has been full of speculation and controversy surrounding Meghan's relationship with her family. This was dramatically highlighted by Doria being the only family member to attend the wedding.
Doria was always very independent. She was busy. She had a little clothing line and a business involving some accessories and some jewelry. I certainly think it's unfair to overshadow how integral Dad was in every aspect of her life, and amazingly so. I don't think it gets better than how he was with her.
I feel bad for her dad and her family. I mean, how do you go from being the one that's provided you with everything and being your greatest champion to, you know, once you're getting to the royal family, you just discard him?
We don't seem to see a long continuum of people in Meghan's life before she became very, very famous. In a way, that certainly raises my eyebrows, because why wouldn't you, unless you kind of reinvented yourself and completely started over?
We're a pretty normal family who have all shared in your life experiences. It's not that we weren't ever there. You know, we've gone to your dance recitals, holidays, Thanksgiving, being on the phone, giggling, laughing. Now, all of a sudden, we don't exist. You can't hurt people like this and then turn around and flip the script and play victim.
You know what? I think it's massively unfortunate that she's getting so much grief at a time when, you know, she's pregnant and it's a very sensitive moment, and it should be one that she, you know, where she's just focused on being pregnant and celebrating that rather than needing to defend herself.
I can't think for a minute that Thomas Markle will be able to ever meet his grandson or granddaughter. I think that's desperately sad.
It's important that children have a bigger sense of their family and where they come from. And I would like to think that this child would have access to the best parts of Granddad, as we did when we were kids. And I would hope that a grandchild would get to know that side of the Markles.
He hasn't even met Prince Harry, so I think it's safe to say that he's not going to meet his new granddaughter or grandson for a very long time.
This is a family feud that looks to be continuing indefinitely. But right now, Meghan has a new family member to focus on.
I think this baby is perfect timing. Meghan will have 6 months where she can stay out of the limelight, away from the cameras. You know, she's had the craziest year that I think anyone could have.
For me, it's very exciting that, you know, there's going to be a mixed-race baby in the royal family that's half American.
Harry's talked for a while now about his desire to be a father. Having lived near to his nieces and nephews, that has made him want to become a parent. I think they're both obviously keen to get stuck in and be very hands-on, relaxed, modern parents.
See, I've even got goosebumps thinking about it. The thought of them being parents and being this really formidable front, this team of two people that have come from two different places but that really love each other, the thought of that just fills me with so much joy.
Meghan looked radiant, and Harry couldn't stop smiling as they introduced their royal bundle of joy to the world.
It's just been the dream, so it's been a special couple days. He has the sweetest temperament. He's really calm and...
Parenting is amazing. It's only been, what, 2.5 days, 3 days?
Yeah.
But we're just so thrilled to have our own little bundle of joy.
Diana's legacy will live on through her grandchild, as it has through her two sons.
I'm sure that Harry will put pictures up and he'll tell the baby about its grandma Diana, that her spirit is within Harry and within this baby as well.
You know, it is days like today when I really miss having her around and miss being able to share the happy news. But I'm sure she's with us. I'm sure she's with us, you know, jumping up and down somewhere else.